I know another one of my. I've heard people tell this story before, so I guarantee it's happened multiple times. I know someone who drove a golf ball, like, you know, geese are out on the golf course sometimes. Someone was like, hey, I'm gonna drive this right at that goose, and like it's 100 yards away. It's like there's no fucking way. But he was like bad enough at golf. He was in that sweet spot of I can hit it that far, but I don't know where I'm gonna hit it. And he killed a goose on a golf course.
Really?
Hit it. He said it hit it in the neck, and it wiggled around for a bit, and then died. And they just played through. There's nothing else you can do.
So
no mercy.
At least it was a bad kind of bird.
So I witnessed this firsthand. I can attest to it. When I was in high school, we were playing a match, and there was this guy who I went to high school with who there's so many stories about because he was just bad luck Larry. The worst situations you could imagine happened to him constantly. I remember he had like this crush through all of high school, and then he finally asked her out. She said yes. An hour later, his dad called and was like, the dog got hit by a car. Like, nothing could go right for this guy. Oh. So anyway, we're during a golf match. He's playing. He's not that good. God bless his soul. He had the attitude, but he just couldn't quite get it there.
R.I.P.
And I was finished with the course, so I was watching him. He was like our extras who were in the back golfing, and I was on a cart, and he hits a drive, and the drive beelines right into a tree. And whenever it hits the tree, I see the golf ball and something else fall down. I'm like, that was weird. He walks up there, and we can see from like 50 yards out, he's just going, like staring at the ground. We drive up to him to see what's going on, and this man, I kid you not, hit a 3-legged squirrel.
Oh,
This thing, its back leg was gone, clipped off in some injury.
that was Osama bin Laden reincarnated.
That was a bad luck squirrel.
Yeah, they're a match made in hell.
It was laying there twitching, just like barely dead, and he was staring at it. And the coach, who didn't like this guy to begin with, he walks up to him and he goes, "Did you hit that squirrel?" And Larry's looking down and he goes, "I love squirrels." And the coach said, "Just hit the ball."
I mean, Larry's you see an animal writhing in the death throes there. You got to end it for the animal. Don't let him fucking roll around for 20 minutes in agony.
My brother
again.
So when I was like 13 and my brother was like 15, he went through a stage where he loves stunt kites. I don't know if you're familiar with these, but they're these kites that rip across the sky and you do all these loops and turns and shit with it. And I think he even competed in stunt kite competitions. And he definitely worked at a store that sold them. So this is his thing. And I come upon the beach and there's my brother flying the kites. And there's a seagull, like just dancing with the kite. You know, he's going left and the seagull's playing with the kite. And he's very excited about this scenario. Well, the wind is ripping and these kites do too. And so it's tearing across the horizon and he kills a seagull. It broke its wing. The thing comes spiraling down like one of those seeds out of a tree, you know, for like 100 feet. And then the seagull dies. That's not a stunt kite, but the seagull died a painful death on the ground. He was just so into like, well, we're playing together. Look at me in nature, like loving the scene, and then it ended poorly.
I don't know. I don't have any love for birds. I guess when I see those like really smart little pet birds that clearly have personality, like, all right, I saw one the other day that feigned injury to get attention. Like the other animal or something touched it and it like made its wing go like cocky and like ran back to the owner like and it's like, dude, we saw that. You want attention. It was like that bird has a personality. But like when we were hunting, like I didn't give a shit. I remember one time we were dove hunting and a banded pigeon flew over. No, I didn't know it was a banded pigeon. I just thought it was the king of all doves, so I smoked it. and I was like, holy shit.
That is a good guess.
That's a good guess. They call that the dove queen.
I was like 12.
All the doves.
I thought it was the queen dove. I thought I got her. I was 12, so it came over. It was one of those things where like there were bushes in front of me, and it cleared the bushes, and I had it It was like, oh, there it is, and I have to shoot or not shoot. So I smoked her anyway. You throw her in the bush. I didn't feel fucking bad. They had like it had like a number and shit on the band. I think I had a number to call if you found the bird. I was like, why would I tell them what I did?
It's a boring kind of bird.
Sounds like a confession, if you ask me.
I mean, I was 12. I was 12.
No statute of limitations on bird murder.
Apparently not. And it was an accident, for the love of God. But no, I've never felt sorry for birds. I remember, you ever have like a friend whose older brother is like a menace, and you're kind of afraid of him? So there was a kid that I'd go to his house sometimes, hang out. Very cool there. You know, he had Doom on a nice computer, and this is at a time when like that was cutting edge almost, or at least like it was the coolest thing that we could think of. He was that kid who could do backflips from a very young age, and was a white kid with a 6-pack at like 14, like just had it all. Seemingly, his name was Chad. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, his older brother was fucking scary. There was a rumor that he had gotten in a fight and he had driven a guy's nose into the guy's brain and killed him. And we're like kids, right? So we believe this shit. So we're terrified. This guy comes home and he's just. I ended up saying the wrong thing. Apparently, now I'm dangling over the balcony. I remember that he dangled me over the balcony like Michael Jackson did. Yeah. And scary. Did you ever have any experiences like that? Because you've got like those three brothers. I would think that like with the network of friends that y'all had, like some hijinks and shenanigans would get going. I'm surprised there was never like a fight where all three of you had to beat somebody up.
No, we never did that. Like I can't think of any big bully like older because I'm like. The way it worked out, like my brother's 2 grades below me. My other brother's much younger, so we didn't go to school together. But like the way it worked out is all my friends, like tons of them had younger brothers that were 2 years below. It was a weird coincidence, like huge. So it was a big group, but I didn't really know. And my friends who had older siblings, they were like that kind of older where it's like, I have a brother. And it's like, really? Yeah, he's 31. It's like, oh, well, he's not in the mix, man. Like he's
unless he's a real loser.
Oh yeah. Do you remember those guys in high school where like a 22-year-old would show up to pick up a sophomore, junior, and it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you loser. They're going around like I remember seeing like recently graduated seniors like the year above me come back to school during class and be like, "Hi, Mrs. Smith," and like there were a couple guys and a couple girls, and it's like, go live your life. Get the fuck out of what is wrong with you to want to just pop in 4 months after you graduated? I
disagree. I have my own take on this. I think that what it is that guy being older was always alpha to us, right? And we're thankful that he's gone, right? Asshole was a senior when I was a sophomore. Now I'm the senior, and he pops his head back in. Now he's a sophomore in college. Go do. Leave me the fuck alone. This is my chance to be the senior. I'm supposed to be in charge here. You're a loser. You're a loser for wondering what's happening back here. You're a loser for caring about the teacher you had 2 years ago. But then 2 years later, no, I didn't do it. I didn't pop back in. But I was curious. Like I would have been interested in talking to like my old swim coach or this guy or that guy. I can see why there's an interest in popping in. I'm not trying to steal some
I don't know.
high school girl.
I was in a unique situation because I went to high school on the same campus I went to college because I went to a prep high school. So like the high school's there at the college. Yeah. So as soon as I started my freshman semester in college, like my high school's right there. So I'm like, I've got the ID badge. I'll just let me in the building. I'll go see like this teacher who I was friends with. And I go in, and as soon as I'm in, I'm like, this is weird. I don't like this. Never did it again. Was not a fan.
I think like I can see where you're coming from, Woody, and like if you're on the same campus, like it's totally different. I remember like, and like it definitely wasn't the senior thing for my friend group because I remember like when they would stop by, I'd be like, "Are any of you guys ever gonna pop in to say hi to Miss Smith after we graduate?" And they're like, "Fuck no, dude! Like I don't want to be here right now. Like I'm not gonna opt to come back here." I have not gone back to my high school ever.
I think I drove past it with Woody a few years ago, and that was the closest I had been in a long time.
Yeah, because there's nothing for me there. I already did it.
I wanted to see my high school.
Yeah, I did my time.
I wanted to retrace the steps of the infamous girl that I slapped at like 13 years old, and I'm looking at it on Google Maps.
She had it coming. Long story.
She had it coming.
Long story.
All right.
I'm 100% in the right, 110% in the right to hit this woman.
I'll take your word for it. And where can I slap her? Sure.
Anyway, they tore the school down and built it up. Like the places weren't there. They put the schools where the tennis courts were, and put the tennis courts where the school was, and I'm like, that is definitely not how it was.
Nice, man.
And that must be how they did it.
Yeah, no, I've never had any reason to go back there. The teachers that I did like it was the welding and the construction teacher, and I went on to like play poker with them later on when I was like out of high school. Like those guys were part of that like scene that we played a lot of Texas Hold'em together. So I actually got to see them later on. Those were cool people, and I think I shot with them a little bit too, like sporting clays and stuff. Those guys.
It's more of an intimate scene. Like you're doing a shared activity. It's not just a teacher that like you were gonna.
Oh, of course. Well, it's like it's 1,000% different dynamic. For one thing, those guys were kind of loose with their teaching style. The construction teacher is the one I hit, and like more or less got away with hitting a teacher in class. So like they were pretty cool guys.
Based in Renfield, perhaps.
Based in Renfield, attacking your teacher in class.
He should have hit me back. He totally should have smoked me. If he'd laid me out right there, he'd have set a good fucking example. Like he shouldn't have let me do that. He really should have smoked me. Like I had it coming. I wouldn't have complained. I understood. I wouldn't have said a damn thing. I would have told on him. I'd be like, I fell. Nah, Mr. Coffin didn't hit me.
I fell.
Did Mr. Coffin hit you? Nope. I fell and hit my head. I hit him accidentally, and on the way down, I hit my face. Yep. He was a big dude. He could have whipped my ass. Like I think little kids overestimate how strong they are compared to like grown man strength. This dude was like, I don't know, maybe my age now. Like I didn't want, and he's 6'4", so I had to reach up to hit him.
Damn.
That was ballsy of you.
I hit him in the top of the head. To be fair, I didn't punch him in the face. I did this. It was stupid. It doesn't matter.
A hammer fist.
I did give him a hammer fist. I Donkey Konged him in the top of the head. But we made up, and we were friends later on, and it wasn't a big deal. I explained to him that I was just an asshole.
Just punched a teacher in class, no biggie.
Didn't punch him, did it?
Happens.
Did strike him though. It didn't seem like when you phrase it like that, it's like why would ever. Even now, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe it. I just got caught up in a moment, I think, and things just got away from me, and it just happened.
It just happened. Sometimes things just happen.
Sometimes just punch a teacher. It happens. Sorry, hammer fist a teacher. My bad.
I think
you got to ground and pound your shop teacher.
But no, I never had any desire to go back to school and like visit with like certainly not like anyone who was like an underclassman, like go see the juniors who are now seniors or whatever. Like it just seemed like a real lame scene because I remember whenever I would see those hanger-ons, anybody who was older, I thought like you should be doing that stuff that you're allowed to do now. The only reason I'm here is because I have to be, and you're here by choice, and that makes you a loser whether everybody else can see it or not. Like you should not be here right now.
I guess I like inherently just like took their presence there at 4 p.m. on a Friday to say hi to a teacher as like, for you to be here.
I don't even mean just at school. I just mean hanging out like at parties and stuff too.
I didn't, when I was a senior, there weren't really any like already graduated guys hanging out at like parties or anything. So we didn't deal with that, but we would see the same fucking dudes. It was literally the same like one or two guys and the same one or two girls. And we would see them regularly. It wasn't like the class above me would like trickle in randomly. It was literally the same two girls and I think the same two, maybe three guys. And it would be like, they'd pop in like every other week sometimes. Like, and it didn't make any sense. And my thought was always like, for you to be here so regularly, it might not be going so great for you out there. Like trying to return to a place of familiarity, maybe. I don't know. So I had something I wanted to talk to Wendigoon about. We can jump in with that. So I know from your channel, you're very interested in these mystical woodland creatures and things. Very, not just woodland, all over the place. Of all those you've researched, do any of them at all like trigger a thought in your mind to be like, this could be real? Or Are you mostly at the end of it like, I can't buy in?
I do think that there is a large case for a lot of like ocean creatures, for one, right? So I'm going to leave those out of it because that's cheating, right?
Okay.
Okay.
As far as like, so I'm from Eastern Tennessee, right? So I spend a lot of the time in the woods, do a lot of camping, and there's some weird stuff that goes down you just don't explain, like just some noises, some carcasses you find that you're like, this is not right. And I'm also like, a Christian, a Sunday school teacher. So I also have the thought in my head, like, maybe it's just a demon. That makes me feel better for some reason.
Yeah.
So if there is any like supernatural or cryptid, so to speak, creature that would exist, I would probably say it would be in line with a lot of mythologies that go along the lines of like the rake or something like that. And I don't think maybe any one specific one of them is real, just maybe like some kind of creature that's unaccounted for, just something that isn't quite on the record yet.
Sure.
It's not an entirely out there, like, Bigfoot with antlers and giant wings. As much as I love the Mothman, probably not. But just something that we're not entirely aware of yet, that makes some noise at night that we don't pay attention to. Yeah.
That's totally believable.
I'm also like, I also lean toward that, not like the biblical demon, which is a fucking corrupted angel of the Lord, but like the idea of some sort of like, I don't know, other dimensional fucking weird being that's kind of here, but not really. And like, maybe sometimes it influences our world in some weird way, even if it's just being a cold spot or screaming real loud in the woods.
An in-betweener, so to speak. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen or heard anything that I couldn't explain with my ears or eyes one way or another. I remember when we were on our little survival trip that time with you, myself, and Chiz and Patrick, our cam man, and we heard some people way in the distance being I'm gonna say they were being silly and partying by a fire, because that's not terrifying. Because what we heard was, whee! It sounded like there might be some deliverance shit going down, like they just had like fuck the guy or something,
or a demon ritual of sorts.
You never know, but it was so far away. But we're in like a silent forest. All you hear is crickets and all the forest life and quietness. So like a person's voice in those hills, those mountains carry so far. But it was scary. I was glad we had guns. I was like, I'm not worried about it at all. We've got fucking guns. I kind of hope they come over here and start some shit. Actually, let's go see what they're yelling about.
You better hope that it's like a physical being. Your guns are going to be nothing against demons.
Well, then we've got a cameraman. We're all millionaires now. We're the first ghost hunters to actually find a ghost.
The reason if
medals are going to be on us like Soviet commanders, it's going to be nuts.
The only thing we know for sure about ghosts is that if you like see one verifiably, like they probably are going to kill you, right? There'd be a lot more people with better stories.
We're the first men to beat up a ghost in the forests of Georgia, and our boy Patrick filmed it. We're cutting Chiz out of this. It's a union thing. Woody took his tent flap, his rain guard, and choked the fucking ghost out. There was so much cosmic energy imbued in it from his anger earlier that day that he could choke a phantom with it.
And makes sense.
And we take a phantasm like prisoner. We'd be the first guy, so I have no fear of a phantasm or ghost. I would love to die that way if someone records it. It'd be cool. That's how I'd love to die.
It would be.
I'd like to be taken out a long time from now. Like at 91, there's no way I'm making it to 90. At 71.
Here's the thing. I think people that are our age, we still do that thing where 70 is so goddamn old, but every day 70 gets younger, if that makes sense. Like the people who will be 70-year-olds today are way better health-wise than 70-year-olds 10 years ago. And on and on and on and on and on, right? Like there's a reason that like we keep living. Yeah, of course.
I thought we were getting fatter at a faster rate than all that.
But the healthcare system, like the life expectancy keeps going up. Has it gone? It hasn't started going down, has it? It's always.
I don't think we've never been like that.
COVID doesn't count
with compared to like a lot of Europe.
That'd be like if a bomb went off, the average goes down. Like,
it did.
But I don't think
World
Europe has. Yeah, Europe doesn't have longer life expectancy because they have like way better. Well, they do have better medical care than us, but I think it's mostly that they're not all big fat fucks. Like way lower. Think about all the problems that being obese cause, and then like make a population like ours that's super fucking mega obese. It's gonna cause
super fucking mega obese. Just
a lot of obese.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just saying that by the time you're, what I was getting at is,
yeah. Why can't they just be a normal guy who's class 1 obese? Like,
but when you're 70,
Stage
that will
1
be a
obese.
very different 70 probably than the 70 you picture. Like,
yeah,
you're, how old are you?
Me?
31.
40 years from now? We're talking about like 2060 something? Like 2060.
That is a long time from now.
I feel like we've got the spaceships then, right? Like we're on Mars in our Mars cars. Like it's 70, right? Like we'll get to see it then. They won't let us go up there, but your grandkids will get to go.
2060, Kyle will
and
have
maybe one of my dogs.
I mean, yeah, it could be like that. I don't think we're not gonna make it like before the buzzer, but like we're gonna miss all that really cool shit. I think.
Oh, I see.
I am. I don't know about you.
Are you pro or anti-nuclear war? We were talking about this earlier. Would you like to see like a few tactical nukes at least, just for like, you know, to get to see it? Would you like to see a few tactical nukes be used?
Is this a question to me?
Yeah, it's for the chorus.
For the chorus.
Would it just be neat? Perhaps.
That's exactly what I meant to say.
I'll say it this way.
Wouldn't it be
I
neat?
I wouldn't wish one. However, if it's going to happen, I would like to see it.
I'd like if it's going.
I don't want to see it enough that I hope it happens.
Hey, I sure hope it doesn't happen, but make sure you record it if it does.
I want it to fail.
Exactly.
I want the missile to get launched from Moscow and not quite make it to Ukraine. I would like the missile to explode in the submarine that it's launched from. Like something like that would be cool.
No, that's bad for in the ocean.
That's
like that's going to fuck up so much flora.
No,
you're right.
Shark
Man will never goes in the water, it spreads out, and that's how stars are made.
No. Water.
He's right. I searched.
I know a little bit about this thing. Water's really good at insulating radiation. That's why, that's one of the reasons that we keep those rods in water, right? Like, you'll be fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. They've lost a bunch of those nuclear submarines, and they don't break the missiles don't break open anyway.
It's not gonna hurt anything. Just a blasé approach to a nuke going off in the
No. We're talking about one of
the birds.
And that's the other thing. Like we always
forbidden kiddie pool.
We always act like one nuke going off is some sort of nuclear winter. I bet a dozen could go off and we wouldn't even notice it. It'd just be, some cool stuff to watch.
Can't be true.
It's absolutely true. Yeah, you'd need
a dozen could go off and we wouldn't notice.
Yeah. I don't think we'd know anything about it.
Chernobyl went
here.
off, and I don't think anyone noticed.
I'd like to see us nuke. Why don't we like nuke the moon? Just everybody nukes the moon to show we're serious and to see how big everyone's explosions are. That'll reinforce the mutually assured destruction.
We can make fun of the people with like
we already have that information.
Missiles that don't make it all the way.
Yeah, they have crappy. We're like, Kim Jong. We're all down for the missile off. You just got to play by the rules. You got to go for the moon. And he's like, "Oh, I can't get to the moon." And it's like, no shit,
I can get to Japan.
that's Kim Jong Un voice. Oh, that's how it starts. It's okay to do to him because he's bad.
It's not racist at all because it's North Korean.
No, look, I don't want to.
That's how it works. There you go.
Here's what I think would be awesome. I think it would be awesome if like this is like movie worthy. If Putin does that thing they teased the other day where he like demonstrates a nuclear weapon on the border or something like that. Let's just say a tactical nuclear weapon. Something that makes a big mushroom cloud, looks wild on CNN, but like. These aren't pressure waves wiping out cities. Don't think that. Then, like, they sweep him out of power. Like, I feel like if he does that, like he's going to lose power. I feel like enough of them won't stand behind him. The other thing is, I wonder if he gave the order, if they'd even do it, because I don't think they have a system exactly like ours. I think there are generals who are responsible for certain amounts of nuclear weapons. They're like that general is responsible for these. And they'd have to take that order and then pass it on. So I think there's been some speculation.
You think it'll be kind of like a Stanislav Petrov thing where he's like, "No, I'm not, buck stops here. I'm not launching."
I think they'd stand down. I think if he was like, yeah, fucking put one in Warsaw or wherever the fuck, like I think they're just gonna say no.
Stanislav
Hopefully.
Petrov? I can't let that go. I think I'm with most of our viewers who are like, was that Modern Warfare 2?
I love so he was a Russian guy during the Cold War who had the button to launch the nukes and didn't do it. And he's like, he was one button press away from like wiping out human existence in 1982, I think, 81 or 82. He was at an outpost on the western border of Russia, and he was just a high-ranking officer who was in charge of watching the missile defense system, like to see if the U.S. launched anything. And there was a glitch, and his radar gave him the message that the U.S. had launched 6 nukes, and they were in the air, and there was approximately like 15 minutes till impact. So he picks up the phone to call straight to the Kremlin and say, launch the nukes now, counterattack. And he picks up the phone and freezes and thinks to himself, if the United States launched 6 nukes, if the United States were to attack us, they would probably launch more than 6. So he decides to wait. Which, if this guy's wrong, he's single-handedly losing the war, wiping out his country for everyone. No one can get to any shelters. There would be no counterattack.
Did they say how many weapons he was able to launch?
He was the front man and he was also the highest officer there. So if this guy says that America's launched nukes, the entire country militarizes instantly, fires back on all they've got. So he essentially had the button.
I watched the whole video about the nuclear deterrent situation and where all of our nuclear weapons were and what they were composed of. It was really interesting. 70% are in submarines, because each of those missiles, and these numbers are wrong, but the submarine holds a dozen missiles, and each missile has 5 warheads in it that can hit 5 different cities. So that's 60 per submarine.
One missile launches and then they separate and they can hit 5
goes into space.
Cities?
It goes up into space, and then you've got a multiple reentry vehicle. It's a MIRV, whatever that acronym stands for. But you've got 5 warheads, and they all split up and go to 5 different cities.
Wow.
From each one. And there's at least a dozen per submarine. And we got a bunch of those submarines, maybe not 100 or anything, but I think there's a dozen or 20 of those submarines. So 70% of our total of roughly 1,500 is there. And then I think there's a bunch of them out west in the Dakotas and Wyoming, Midwest area in those silos, 400 maybe. And then the rest of them are conventional and tactical things that are on missiles, bombs, and other delivery systems that are less prevalent. But it was a fun video, because
do you think
if you live out there near those silos, 100% there is a missile from the Soviets aimed at you right now. There is one with your name literally on it. It's missile
is that
37.
Even the strategy? The missiles take, I'm making it up, 20 minutes to get here. Is your goal to take out my missile silo? Because, bro, that's not going to work, right?
Yeah, it will work. Yeah, if they hit the silo, the missiles die.
But they should be aiming for St. Louis
control centers.
They're aiming for St. Louis too, but there's a missile for every missile. So 400 of the Soviets' missiles are coming for our silos, but then there's another 1,200, I think they have, for our cities and military hotspots. And
God damn it! According to this, I am gonna die. Did you guys see the fishing cheating?
Yes. Oh my god,
that is wild,
dude. Do you want to lay it out?
Yeah. So apparently, there's fishing competitions, and the way that they judge them is total weight of your haul, I guess, or I guess you get to pick 5 fish and the most weight you can get with that. And this guy got caught putting fillets of other fish, stuffing it into the fish that he caught, and also putting lead balls into the fish, big lead balls. And he gets caught, and there's all these fishermen around. I'm almost scared for the life of the guy as the clip is going, because these guys are frothing at the mouth you fucking cheater, you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from this. How many times have you done this?
Really? They said that?
Fuck you. And then the guy who's who's dealing with the cheating, who's I guess must be the kind of arbiter of the situation. He's John, who's the guy who cheated. He's John, you got to leave. you got to leave right now. And he tells everyone else, he's like, everyone, do not assault him on the way to the car. Let him go to his car. We're going to handle this. Let it go to the car. And so the guy leaves, goes to his car, and they start going through, and you can just hear a chorus of fishermen behind.
Those things are huge.
There were he had 2 of those in one single fish. I think there were 4 of those balls. Yeah, in the bottom of the crate. But there were like probably 7 fish fillets, 2, 3, 4 of or 3 or 4 of those. And so this guy, I guess the win for this was like in the tens of thousands of dollars, maybe $100,000. It's serious fucking money. It's real money. And this guy has done this. Yeah, his sponsors. These are like they're professional.
He won the previous year the same competition. So
and he's won many other competitions.
But I'm implying he beat these same people last year.
Yeah,
they lost to him last year, perhaps unfairly.
So
100%, you're right.
So this is one of those good old boy sports too, where like he's done. He's done now. He is fucking done. And like, I think if you get caught cheating in like a tennis match, like nobody's gonna whip your ass, right? Like they might even laugh about it. Oh, nice fucking fancy racket, Mr. Cheater.
Oh, furry balls.
racket.
Yeah. But like in this, dude slipping some lead balls in his, I guarantee you, like, yeah, you'd have to be like, please don't assault him.
Yeah.
Here. No one hurt him here. I don't want that to happen. No one here.
When he gets off the property.
Now, should have saw like.
Look at that. I didn't
okay, 10. I way underestimated how many there were in there.
I think he's using the fillet of fish to like.
Wow. Far's fucking Rain Man over here. Oh, there's 10.
Definitely 10 balls in there.
I know, like good old boys who during tournaments are like, oh, just drop a sinker in its mouth. This fish would have shot straight to the bottom of the tank. What the heck?
I think they were stuffing.
No one thought it was suspicious when it was like upside down.
Yeah, you shake it and it's clinking.
Apparently they think this guy cheated a lot, and they busted him for this one. He's earned hundreds of thousands of dollars over his career. Man. And I was learning about the different ways to cheat in these fishing tournaments. What some people do is they catch fish in advance and then like trap them underwater. And then on fishing day, they just go and collect the fish that they had previously caught without a time limit.
Yeah.
What this guy did, he went to a local store and bought fish and stuffed them with lead. He didn't even catch fish.
He didn't catch those fish?
No, he didn't catch them. He bought them at the store, put lead weights in them.
He doesn't even try.
He's not even fishing at all.
No, he bought the fish.
Dude, we could have done this. All right, what's the penalty?
Apparently, the penalty is people are like pissed at you.
Taylor, don't go down to the Ozarks and fucking run this scam, dude. If an ass whooping is all look, the prize money will allow you to afford a bodyguard. Okay,
those fucking Ozark people will kill me.
That's what the bodyguard is
for. When you're driving around the Ozarks, you can be like, they're here for the lake. They live here. Like
locals.
the locals.
No,
like,
dude,
he's in like a lake, just some lake, and he has like, I caught a mahi out here.
Yeah.
Like he just went.
Is that fraud?
It would be fraud, right? Like there's money on the line. You're cheating. You probably have to sign something to participate in it.
I want to know what happens to him. Do his sponsors sue him for fraud? Do the competitors, the tournament owners? I have a feeling he's just going to be blackballed. And it's as small as that.
Yeah, maybe.
What did he do? Go out there and just pretend to fish?
Yeah.
Because normally they'll catch a couple, but he's just out there with the cigarette like,
the other thing
don't
is
mind me, just, oh, no, I didn't get one. Oh, well.
Those tournaments are so long. Like it's not like he's out there for like an afternoon. It was like hours and hours and hours. Many of them are multi-day tournaments where you're out there like all weekend or maybe like 3 or 4 days. What the fuck is he doing out there? Just on his phone?
Imagine him on the lake just pissed off. Like, this fucking sucks. All the other
You know what he's doing?
Vibrating butt plugs.
You know what he's doing? He is fishing. He is fishing, and he's hoping that he'll catch one bigger than one of his store-bought fish. But if he doesn't, who fucking cares? He's having a great time fishing for fun. That's what he's doing.
This is great. The guy that caught him's name is Mr. Fisher.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
He is the rightful champion of the tournament.
I've told this so
Give
many
him
times.
money.
My father, an accountant, had a client, gynecologist. His name was Dr. Bush.
Doctor.
That's
A
great.
solid gynecologist name.
I bet this guy
Yes,
gets
man.
in some legal trouble.
He should.
I
I told you about that guy
we're-
who scammed the Buckarama by like going through the whole process of beating the lie detector. Because
What's
they
the
asked you-
Buckarama?
it's one of those who kills the biggest deer this year contest.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's similar to these bass fishing things like boats and trucks and guns and prize money of like 10, 20
Mhm.
grand can be up for grabs. And they throw you on a lie detector apparently, and they're like, hey, did you kill this during the lawful act of regular hunting? Some question like that. That basically means, hey, were you out hunting and not cheating, spotlighting? Did you do anything wrong? Did you do this the right way? And so the guy could say yes, he bought his license, climbed a tree, put his orange on, and then shot a deer in a pen that he'd been raising for years to be a mighty deer. And
A mighty deer.
a mighty deer. So here's a conspiracy theory that with the Russian thing, right? Fucking the Nord Stream pipeline, 3 out of 4 of the tubes get bombed at the bottom of the fucking ocean, in the middle of the sea, in the middle
These
of
sharks
this
are
war.
getting good.
I think they're valued at like $25 billion. This pipeline, or just like the pipeline itself, but it's gushing gas into the air, and it seems like they can't cap it off, or they don't care, or they haven't even turned it off yet.
Dude, Russia cares hard. That is a huge source of their income. That gas.
You think Russia wants the Nord Stream to stay in place?
Oh
they
yeah,
didn't
like
destroy it
one of
to-
no, definitely. Like, I think that they wanted it to stay in place because like if they wanted to turn it off, they would have just turned it off. They wouldn't have destroyed their own infrastructure. That doesn't make sense to me because like if you destroy
they've
it,
done that already.
like if they turn it off, that's like being able to turn it off is a good bargaining chip.
You don't even have
right?
to turn it off.
You can
turn
go,
it down.
hey, we're gonna turn it down, or we're gonna turn it off. Then they have like a bunch of bargaining power with like Germany and Western Europe with that.
Whoever did it
Without
left-
that bargaining chip, they really they're not nearly as powerful. Like it does not serve Russia's interests at all to lose all that income and bargaining power.
That occurs to me too, except they're trying to hurt their customers as well. I don't. The line they use is, I guess it's like Germany who's getting this shit, and they want Germany's will to break. They want them to be cold this winter, so they busted.
Then they would turn it down or turn it off. They wouldn't destroy the Nord Stream that brings them shit tons of money. That just doesn't make sense. Like they want that money.
They built that pipeline,
and they want to be able to say, hey, oh, you're not doing what we want, Germany. Oh, looks like we're turning this down, bitch. Like now they don't have that power. They don't have it anymore.
I agree with you. The whole point of this pipeline was, after the Soviet Union broke up, the way that Russia was getting its oil to Germany was straight through Ukraine. I think there's 2 pipelines. Well, then the Ukrainians are going to want their piece, right? So they built this like $20-30 billion pipeline in the north. And is that the Black Sea or the Caspian Sea? I think it's
the Baltic Sea, I think.
Okay, Jesus. Anyway, one of them seas. And
One of them.
Seas.
I could be wrong. It's one of them. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's the Baltic Sea.
But I don't know who did it, and it seems like a real whodunit because I think the U.S. did it, and I bet they did it in a fucking cool way. Like I doubt. Don't
The
you?
Satanists know what they got.
I bet we did it like a cool way. I bet there were guys with like cool futuristic suits or like speed stealth boats. Somebody got dropped out of a plane.
It was a boring ass like drone torpedo. There was no dude taping shit to it.
Not even a torpedo, right? Like, just like a depth charge. You just dump it
Yeah.
over the side of any fucking boat. Some pleasure cruise dump it over the side in the right spot. It sinks to the bottom and it breaks the pipeline.
Yeah, notoriously not cool compared to a guy putting on a bunch of and having like one of those shark blades that shoots out air and like going down there.
I think y'all are underplaying how difficult it is to destroy a $30 billion a natural gas pipeline at the bottom
I think
of the sea.
depth charge right next to the pipiline.
Pretty big charge.
That's not
does
what
the
depth
trick.
charges do.
Based on what I say.
Then what do they do?
Don't depth charges blow up next to things and hurt them?
Yeah, I thought.
Well, submarines, I think they're meant for like submarines that are like going to bump into them, right?
You
Or,
say
or like they go
submarine,
off at a certain depth.
No,
They're meant to be like
dude,
a
so
concussion
water
charge.
isn't compressed. So if I expand it nearby, it's almost like hitting you directly because you press on water and you press on the sub. And all I need to do is blow up somewhere near the sub and
Yeah.
the water pushes
It's just
into
almost
it.
certain. All right. So let's realistically say that we're going to destroy this pipeline, and we're the United States government. We have all the means in the world.
You'd use a depth.
We're not going to use something that's meant for like anti-submarine warfare. That like, what if we don't? What if it doesn't work? What if we don't turn it just right? We got to hit it in this thing in 3 different places, all separated. So we need 3 very specific boats with very specific mines. Why don't we send a guy down there with some plastic explosive and like make sure he cuts a little hole in it?
I mean, I like the idea of James Bond with a spearfishing gun doing it himself.
That's what they did. I guarantee they sent James Bond down there with a spearfishing gun.
Maybe we have the Shark Man. At the beginning, we thought it was the Russians. Yes. Maybe we have them. Yeah.
Now it's making sense.
now see, like,
it would be Operation Walrus Man on that part of the hemisphere.
It's not as deep as I thought it was. 80 to 110 meters at points, so someone could swim down there with the right equipment.
And it's 12 millimeters thick. That's like,
but so the thing is, like, it doesn't sound like they made like a little hole in it, right? It sounds like they destroyed it in a way that makes it very difficult to repair. Or this wouldn't be a talk, right? They'd be like, turn it off real quick. Send Yuri down there with the patch kit. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. But it's not.
What is that fucking tape that stops leaks? Flex tape, right?
Flex Seal. I send him down with a can of Flex Seal.
That's the next commercial. Him like putting on his scuba and like going backwards into the fucking sea.
We destroyed the Russian pipeline.
No, the whole thing's fascinating. I think there's some real like geopolitical James Bond, Jason Bourne shit going on every day throughout this thing. There are movie plots happening every day. Like I just imagined what it would be like to be like behind those enemy lines in Ukraine right now and want no part of it and be like afraid, like on the run, basically. Like what if you were like released from prison? You cannot go back to Russia, but you don't want to get caught by the Ukrainians because you probably end up back in prison. So you've got to like escape Ukraine somehow. I guarantee there's a guy out there right now trying to do that, living on canned food and sneaking around like it's Tarkov.
I look forward to the movies that come out of this.
I downloaded Dave Portnoy's One Bite app the other day. It'll fucking pay.
I don't think I know about that.
So he's the One Bite pizza review guy, the Barstool Sports guy. And he's got a pizza app that'll show you like pizza scores in your area, like right around you, like it's a dating app. And it'll even like highlight the ones where he's given his own personal rating and it's not just user generated. So it's a little bit like Rotten Tomatoes for pizza. With like geolocation. And so I got on there because I've been watching a bunch of his reviews lately. I don't know why. YouTube keeps feeding them to me. And so I was like, are there any good places in Atlanta? And sure enough, there's one that was like 4. He gave it a really high rating and I ate it. It was awful. It's fucking great. There was so much garlic that I think I ate 1 slice of this. It wasn't overly expensive, but it looked like it would be great if it weren't just piled high with minced garlic. And then I went and watched the review again, and he was complaining about the garlic. Fuck.
Well, you got to try again. Find a 5 or 10 out of 10.
Are you a pizza snob at all, or you just not give a fuck if somebody's ordering pizza? Do you even care where they order it from?
Not really. I'll eat whatever. Like, I'll eat any pizza. I don't
see. I'm a snob about it. If I'm gonna eat pizza, then I want it to be really thin, and I want it to be as healthy as we can get it. Right? I usually do like just cheese. Usually, like I don't do toppings anymore.
Oh no, I'm going bananas. Like thickest bread. Like what?
Bananas.
I'm at least getting
hand. You want like a Detroit style pan thing?
Banana peppers aren't bad, but not as good as jalapenos.
I love toppings. I just don't want them on there. I want cheese on there. I want to taste the sauce, the cheese, and the bread. I want more of a pure experience. I'm in that kind of phase of my life. Not
Italian
anymore.
Sausage,
done it to death. No more. No,
pepperoni is so done to death. Please,
the cheese and sauce.
It's a classic for a reason.
Here's what I will do: jalapenos.
Bitch of pizzas.
It is. There's a reason for it. Everybody. You go to a pizza party, they get cheese for people who are picky, and then pepperoni for normal people.
This is like arguing Big Macs are the height of burger cuisine. They're not. Just because they're popular doesn't make them good.
It doesn't have to be expensive to be good. You bougie fucks.
I just said vary it up a little bit.
If I do,
look at the chef's signature pizzas out there. Maybe you'll find something.
You guys enjoy your black truffle oil pizza. I'm gonna enjoy pepperoni like a red-blooded, like a high cholesterol American.
If I do get toppings, I'll get pineapple and jalapenos. I like that. It's like sweet and spicy. I'll do that. Man. I like that a lot. Or I'll get like extra cheese and extra sauce. Like
I will do what I said.
Pineapple and jalapenos are pineapple and jalapeno is a good mix. You like
really
put it in your mouth.
Good combo.
It's like
imagine
hot
and sweet chicken on that too. Get a little protein.
Throw some chicken in there.
I do look at the chef ones. Like they have their own combos that they suggest.
It's like the Tony Soprano. Yeah.
Now, I don't eat pizza really. It's probably been 3 years maybe since I've had a slice of pizza. It's just generally I like it, but as far as like how many calories are in a pizza, the risk reward isn't the right term, but like the calories to the joy, that ratio is not there for me, so I'm able to
you need a graph, right, where it's like calories on one side and pleasure on the other, and you're like, oh, this gradient is not working line. For me. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, no.
Yeah. Pizza will make you fat. Like, seriously, pizza is just fucking fat and carbs. Carbs are sugar, fat. Right? So it's sugar and fat. That's what you're having.
It's great.
Yeah. Have trail mix if you want that.
And there's and the other thing, there's so much sodium in there, like with all the meats, like the pepperoni. Like, pepperoni is awful for you. As a kid, like, I think I liked things that tasted like really strong, like those sour candies and stuff. Yeah. And like one of my favorite things was those cheap ass little packages of pepperonis that you could buy at the grocery store. Like if those were in the fridge from like, we would make a lot of pizzas as kids. Like it was like, I don't know, we'd all make a little pizza or whatever. And I would wake up in the middle of the night, like 9-year-old me, and fucking eating those pepperonis.
Your go-to is really jalapeno and pineapple.
My go-to is cheese.
It's pretty.
My go-to is cheese. I want a thin crust, like it doesn't have to be this big floppy motherfucker. I want it to have some crunch. I like it to be a little blackened on the bottom. I like it to be crunchy. I like a tomato pie where there's not even the cheese is like under the tomato.
What you're laying out, Kyle. If I am going to sin, I'm not going to sin a little. Right? I'm going to go fucking cocaine and whores into my pizza and get that cheesy crust. That's where it's at.
Yes, that's a high IQ maneuver. Like if you're going in,
like, I'm gonna cocaine and whores my pizza.
All right, so here's I like where you're heading with this, but the problem is if you're getting stuffed crust, then that means you're getting like fast food level pizza to begin with. So what I would recommend is getting I like the thicker crust. If I don't care about calories, then what I like is a Detroit style or a Chicago style, like a thick, cakey, caramelized on the bottom, buttery pizza that's like somewhere between lasagna and actual pizza. But I'm gonna eat like slices of pizza. It's gonna be like thin crust with cheese. Just what I want.
Yeah. Wendigoon, if you have your druthers, it's jalapeno and pineapple, or what's your top?
I love how you're still hung up on this. It's great. I think I'm with Kyle that I normally just eat like cheese, maybe pepperoni or what have you. But my girlfriend put me on to jalapeno and pineapple pizza, and it's pretty good. So I am pretty consistently on that train. I know it sounds horrible. I said the same thing. I was like, get out of my house. What are you talking about? Then I tried it. I was like, this is a good vibe. It's a really good vibe.
Is when
I used to have pepperoni too, by the way.
Pizza guy, and then he found a girl that's jalapeno and pineapple. He's marrying up.
Yep, trading up. That's how it works.
And I'm just a lower caste pizza eater. I can't use the same facilities as pineapple people. I'm discriminated against for being low class. I did go through a phase for a long time, pepperoni and jalapeno, and that was my always go-to. Jalapeno is a slept-on topping.
It's one of my favorites in everything.
Black olives are better than people say.
No, but I like olives. They have a really strong flavor, and I don't. Sometimes it's overpowering, even on like a supreme pizza where it's like peppers and onions and so much stuff, and I just taste olive. The only thing I totally really like olive on. Did you ever have those? Do you like Schlotzsky's, the little sandwich place?
I know one of those.
It's no,
they're like classic combo. Is this ham sandwich that has olive paste on it, which sounds disgusting, but it's like addictively good somehow. I remember my mom was in the hospital for something pretty serious. There was a surgery or maybe cancer or something at the time. And so a couple weeks were going by, and there was a Schlotzsky's like right next to the hospital that I would eat lunch to when I was like hanging out with her visiting. And I got addicted to those things when I was like 15 or 16. I was like, I wanted Schlotzsky's near me so bad because it was just like olive paste. Why don't we know about this stuff?
Yeah,
ordered a jar of olive paste. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted. Like they've got their own olive paste or something. You can't get it. It's like that Szechuan sauce. It's a whole fucking thing.
Their version's all MSG'd up.
That looks like a good sandwich.
What are you talking about?
That is not the Schlotzsky's classic that I'm thinking of. There's au jus that comes with that motherfucker.
That looks great.
Mushrooms.
That looks fantastic. But
that looks
what was
I dated a girl like that in high school.
It's in flatbread. And that's an
fucking
infection.
Hungry.
Would it please?
I'm glad someone heard my joke.
That's why I said it was I was like, that's an infection. I was looking at the cheese. I guess you were looking at the roast beef.
Not good either way. What is olive paste? Is it like black toothpaste? I can't imagine what that would.
It was like a spreadable olive paste. It was dark and it was tasty, and because I just remember like wanting to know why that sandwich was so good and looking into it. And I don't usually dissect my food. Whenever I see somebody do that, it kind of freaks. When I see somebody like dissecting their food at the table,
it's like serial killer behavior. Yeah.
Wait, dissecting? What do you mean? Like,
I don't know.
You gotta put stuff on your burger.
Yeah, but
no.
They're going to work over there. They're really like picking this thing apart and like
a very Patrick Bateman-esque. Like, what am I eating? Like,
that's olive paste.
Black toothpaste. I'm right.
It looks like caviar.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a much tastier food, which is fig paste.
Fig paste.
Is that what's inside of Fig Newton?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
That's slept on.
I don't like those crunchy seeds in my teeth. You know what's slept on is apple Newtons.
Apple Newtons.
There's apple. You've never heard. Exactly. There's apple Newtons, and instead of those crunchy, disgusting fig filling, they just take some apple goo and put it in there.
Yeah, you've definitely had a bad experience with Fig Newtons because no part of it's supposed to be crunchy.
It's those little seeds are like
there are little seeds.
Oh, those little things. Oh, I don't mind those.
I do.
Okay, but I don't think I would like the sharper tang of the apple.
Oh, my mind's open. I'll try it.
Yeah, you can.
I'll try any dessert. I'm not picky. You put a cookie in front of me, I'll eat it.
Okay, Quibble Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that. They tell me that there is cookie, and there was.
I was thinking about your meat smoking the other day, and I have a suggestion. Why don't you kill yourself an animal this winter and smoke it? Like, why don't you kill? I don't know what there is in St. Louis besides deer. Like smoked venison's probably a good thing,
deer.
But like maybe there's
deer,
pigs there.
Homeless, they're probably gamey.
I don't know.
They're probably gamey.
They probably are. They're running around all the time. They've got sinewy muscles. I want like a veal homeless guy, a guy who's stuck in his spot. He's not moving.
It sounds kind of shitty, but I haven't thought about that before. Like what if you shoot a baby deer? Is that tastier?
It could be. I'll try.
Is that the veal of deer?
I haven't killed a deer in like 7 years.
If anything, they'd be more gamey, right?
I always heard that the thing that makes them gamey is the rush of adrenaline from the you've hit them and then they're running away. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's more of a lean to fat meat ratio. If I had to guess.
Okay, it's an interesting. That makes sense too because I've heard rabbit and it can be very gamey.
Right. Yeah.
The lean and they're incredibly lean. So maybe that's it. I always liked venison. We would eat cube steak, tons of jerky, and more. And that's about it. That's about all we ever did. Because ground venison is so lean that you need to add some other fat to it. And it's like that's a burger with extra steps. Like what are you doing?
Right. Steak out of like backstrap and tenderloin from deer is well, we went hunting one time and we shot it, walked it a few hundred feet over to where we were camped and made steak out of it there. Some of the best meat I've ever had. That stuff is so good.
It is.
And good. Everybody's complaining about the price of meat.
I should kill a deer this year. That's a good idea.
I've asked this question before. It still bumps around in my head though. Can you save money by killing your own animals?
1,000%. Okay.
Nowadays,
Depend. So if you process it yourself, you're printing money. You're a butcher now. If you want to go into business, like you're printing money now.
Is it hard, or do could someone figure it out in a day or two?
To butcher,
I've seen.
I learned it in a day. I mean, it's not that bad.
So we would always pay. It's called getting them processed, and there's this smell that it's that blood smell. It's that metallic smell that's in those places. And you'd go in, there'll be dozens of deer upside down, drained out, and in various. It looks like a serial killer's there because some of them are like just split open. Some of them are skinned. Some of them have their heads cut off. Like all kinds of horrific shit. And when you're 12, it's a little jarring because everybody's on hooks.
Yeah.
But if you do that yourself, and it can get because I think it's like $150 or something. I don't remember exactly. We did it rarely. Like we might kill dozens of deer in a year, but we get one deer processed so that because that's enough meat for all year because we're not living on the shit. We eat it occasionally.
I mean, anyone can like clean a deer badly. Like you could puncture an organ and all that. Like I would think that it comes down. Like, have you ever seen those tuna guys that with the super sharp knives, they're like super quick and like they're making what are clearly like practiced muscle memory, like trained strokes. Like if I don't want to go too far to the left or I'll leave meat here, this and that. Like that's what like a butcher. My grandpa was a butcher stomach before he died, and my grandpa could like process meat like nobody's business. Like it was his job. He was a butcher. So like, do you have a weak stomach? Like if the dog like shits in the floor and you got to pick it up, does that ever make you gag? Is that the sort of thing that would make you gag? I'm asking Woody. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not anymore.
Yeah, shut up, Taylor.
That's happened.
So my experience with cleaning a deer, my dad, I don't know why, but he wanted to teach me at some point. And man, I was gagging, and there's the smell of he didn't pop the organs or entrails, but just the smell of a disemboweled deer, even if you don't break anything. I can't describe the smell. You just have to experience it yourself. It's not stink. It's just, man, I'm being bathed with a very gross aura of goo right now. And then, and the organs do not look good to look at. They're all gross and multicolored.
How many pounds of meat do you get from an average deer?
That's a Google search. I have no idea. We would get multiple like packages, like an arm full of meat, but I'm not even sure if we were keeping all the meat. I think we were asking for like specific cuts. So
if you're keeping all the stuff that's like maybe got some silver skin on it, you're probably at least 20 pounds?
Google says 52 pounds average.
That's a big deer.
52.19 is what it says.
That is a huge deer. Okay.
That's a northern deer, right?
Okay, I did look for average, but I'll trust you on that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Our deer just a little smaller down here.
I'm used to our little whitetail, our little cutie pies.
Make it 30 or something. 30 pounds of any other meat is really expensive. Like that's how much is 30 pounds of steak?
Filet mignon is like 25 to 27. It's $27.99 a pound for filet mignon here. Ground beef is about $8 to $11, depending on how fancy you want it to be. Okay. Sirloin steaks are like $12.
You're looking over $700.
You're getting hundreds of dollars.
If you value it at $15 because it's venison, not filet mignon, then it's $300 worth, and that seems like a fair amount of money to save.
You could feed your family like that easily. You could like make that your meat.
I asked about this online, and they're like, "No, you don't really save money. Like you can kid yourself, you can lie to yourself, like you save money catching fish, but you don't. The cheapest fish are at the stores. What you spend in rods and boats and this and that and the other thing.
Forget that.
So
you don't need you need basic stuff to kill a deer. You don't need camouflage. You need a license.
You need a license, and you probably need like a deer gun. One that's wooden with a bolt action that costs $250, right? You can break even.
Man, that's not fun. You overkill. You America like judicial system that deer. You bring out like super long range gun, needlessly accurate. Sub MOA.
I just want there to be 4
holes in that deer.
I just want there to be 4 smoking feet.
There's 16 pounds of meat on it after I shoot it.
If I wanted to thank me.
You take your bucket and just pick up the meat you want and go.
Stew meat.
it's like, can you save money? I bet you can. Do you save money? I bet it's rare. I bet the people who hunt deer are hobbyists, and they're dressed in their $600 uniform with their $45 potions and their $7,000. Well, I'm exaggerating. $700 guns. And
no, I feel you. It's a little bit of both. Right? I'm sure there's guys that go full hog. I know my fucking Dan Tanner, the guy who invented Tannerite up there in the Northeast, wherever. He goes out on a hike and kills an elk and like packs up the meat like 100 pounds at a time or something and packs it back home and then comes back for more in mountain lion territory. And it's like, that dude's doing it for real, and he's a millionaire.
Yeah, he's just in it for the love of the game.
Yeah, he's one of the more interesting people I ever met. That when we went up to his little man cave, and he had a Barrett 50 cal with a suppressor on it that aimed out of double swing windows at a bear feeder. It's like, this, you've got it figured out. You can get up. He's drunk playing pool, and he's ready to shoot Yogi with a Barrett. And
that's like just not very sporting.
His wife just had given birth. His wife gave birth the day before, but he'd already invited us on this trip, and we had driven from Georgia to the other corner of the United States, and he was kind enough to see us, even though brand new baby. The mother-in-law is there, and she's like, "You're out there with your friends," because that's what she sees. She's like, "This is a newborn baby. You can't even have strangers around it in the house. It's it's a brand new baby."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
meanwhile, he's at the oven with a frying pan. You guys want any placenta?
He invited us in. Oh my God! Are you joking? Have I told you about the placenta
joking.
Already? But he had
I'm
the
not
placenta
sure.
right there. He had I swear to God, he had the placenta in a garbage bag in the back of his truck. You know how guys hang around in the back of a pickup truck, kind of hanging over the rail, and everybody leaning on it. And shit,
not even like a Pyrex or something.
It was no. He's using his bear bait that night. He's using afterbirth and placenta or whatever as bear bait. Which I was like, won't that give him a taste for human flesh? And he's like, they're not going to survive. They won't live long enough to tell the tale of human flesh.
Meanwhile, there's a fucking placenta loaded with tannerite and a feeder. I'm saying this isn't sporting, but
no, he was a real guy. We set off he gave, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds he gave me to shoot off at once. We just filled up a giant drum of it. It's probably in the video title. Let's call it 300 pounds. But it shattered all these windows out of this fairly nice cabin that was obviously within earshot away. And I didn't feel responsible because I'd been invited to this mountaintop to do this thing. It's like, I'm like, hey, could we shoot a video where we shoot a bunch of tannerite? Obviously, it's essentially free to you. You create it right here. And yeah, absolutely. We'll go up here and okay. I didn't set all this up. They did. So I didn't feel responsible for it. And I was like, I don't feel responsible for it, but someone should be. And I think Dan may have paid for those windows because that shit wasn't on me.
It was on him.
That was on him.
You are describing a mythical person. This is insane.
He's also
Skinwalker.
No, he's a real nice. He's a big man too. I would call him 6'4", 245, 250, and powerful. Like a very physically imposing guy.
Out of 10.
What do you mean?
Out of 10, attractive.
Oh, I honestly can't picture his face if I'm being honest at the moment.
That's not really what I'm looking at anyway.
So definitely not.
It was covered in all the bear bits.
Did he have a belly?
Fit guy, fit guy.
Bro,
Fit guy?
The picture of a guy with a 50 cal pointed at a bear feeder.
Is he looking for a 49-year-old male sugar baby? Just asking for a friend.
I don't know.
This is funnier in my head because I'm imagining the 50 cal 30 yards from where this
It was. No, 100%. It was.
Really?
That's exactly what it was. It was right there in the front yard where it was aimed at. It was close enough that you could have done it with a bow.
You hit it with a rock.
He was baiting bears into the yard.
The game warden has nightmares about this man.
He was we were up on a mountain past security gate.
Oh, I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to do it. I'm saying they hate him for it. Absolutely.
There's placenta on there. Better check out the Johnson place.
I remember. I don't know if it was the first time I met Kyle or not. Probably not. But I met Kyle at Wings of Redemption's house one time, and he brought some tannerite. and it was a long time ago. And he brought some tannerite. Is jar like this? I don't know if it weighed 1 pound or 5 pounds. One, you think? And if I recall, Kyle did the shooting, but he was like, yeah, like just did a little thing. This is what I do. Check this out. I think you might like it. The explosion blew my hair back. Guys, look, this hair doesn't move, right?
Keep in mind, we're behind Wing's granny's trailer.
Yeah. This is like a suburban area kind of.
I threw it out in the yard, and I think I grabbed an F2000 or something, and just like set it off in the yard.
And my hair is like, I can't even move it, but it did. It was like I felt the explosion jet my hair back. I was like, holy shit! I've never felt a percussion like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've never felt a percussion like that.
We
buy that shit. Yeah, that's cheap. Make
it yourself. It's
legal.
It is. We were experimenting with allegedly experimenting with directional explosives. So we took a Tupperware container and we opened up a bunch of shotgun shells, took butt shot, just laid it in the container, and the next to it put 5 pounds of tannerite.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just see like what this does, man. I thought I had shot like 1 and 2 pounds before. I'm like, I'm man enough for this. I fired that 5 pound. I was not man enough for that. That was an experience.
Yeah.
It was like take your breath away with the shock of wave.
Yeah, I was like maybe 50 yards away, maybe. And I'm like, oh, there's a chest high barrier. This will be fine. So I fire. And then, like, as soon as it happens, my sinuses were cleared.
Like you took a popper.
Yeah, if you've never been around an explosion like that before, it's bracing. If you've ever felt like a good sound system that you get a big one of those, and it's fun. It feels good.
Whenever you blew up that truck, how much did you use?
Probably about 15 pounds. That was like the general. I had a charge after a while that I just used for cars. I won't go. I probably described it precisely, but I don't think I will right here at the moment. But I had a container that would hold exactly like 13 or 14 pounds, roughly. It was something like that, like 13.5. And I would hang that from the rear view mirror, kind of central to the cab of, you want the explosion to be even. And the mirror was broken, so we put it on the oh shit handle instead, which put it against the door, which created a bit of a shaped charge kind of scenario, pushing the door. And, that's how that all happened. So roughly 13 pounds. That's about what it takes to turn a car into shit. 13 pounds will do it.
Running's not our thing. We're not wired for it. But we're talking about being overmatched. I liked it.
What do you mean our thing? White people or?
Taylor and
three of us.
Oh, okay.
Not built to run.
I'm not very spry.
No. We're plotters.
I'm built for long distance.
I don't even know that that'll hurt my knees. But so I'm like 25 years old. I'm learning to play hockey. I've told this before, but I love it. And I had played like a bunch of roller hockey, which is kind of undisciplined, and like people kind of chase the ball like kids and stuff like that. So I wanted to learn positional hockey and get it right and get my slap shot hard and flat, shit like that. So I'm at the rink, and where I played roller hockey, there was also 3 ice hockey rinks in Pennsylvania. And it was this big hockey facility, and they had learned to play flyers all over the wall. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm in, right? I'm gonna add ice hockey to my repertoire. And I go there, and my wife is with me. I'm married. I'm a grown ass fucking man. And I'm like 6 foot tall, 6'3" on skates. And there isn't another student whose age is in the double digits in this whole fucking thing. and there's like 150 of us learning. They had us all in a line at one point.
Oh, shit. You stayed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're in a line, and my wife, I love her a lot. My wife is in the stands with all the parents who are watching their kids learn to play
Which one is yours?
She elbows, she's like, that one's mine. And there's me like looking like a coach.
They all think that you're just like very developmentally delayed. It's like, yeah, I'm proud of him.
I wanted to learn to play hockey. I'm like, I'm sticking this out. I paid for lessons. Here I go. I did great. Oh my god, I can speak. My slap shot was
demolished them every day.
The only one who brought their own stick.
Yeah, no,
Jesus,
I was
scary.
the top of that class.
You're more of a man than I am.
Dominated.
If I walked in and saw kids, I'd be like, "Oh, I was just using the bathroom. I'll get out of here." Like, man.
There was a coach teaching one of the kids how to like pull the laces tight, and I'm like, huh, all right.
Did you like raise your hand? Coach, you like start kicking your feet.
So do I put the knee pads on after the shorts or before?
I don't know what I would do. I'd like get in there and be like, "What are you here for?" And be like, "I'm here for the hockey."
right.
Like, oh, that checks out. Okay. So why'd you drive here? Yeah, those camps. I know as soon as you said learn to play, I was like, oh my god, that's like what children do.
Like Kramer fucking karate chop.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be so funny if they had like an MVP of the day afterward, and they pin a star proudly to your 25-year-old shoulder.
Now some other kid gets it. He's like, that should have been mine.
Right.
I worked for that gold star.
Now that kid's gonna make the NHL because he's ready for the competition. He's played against adults since he was
Did
a
him
child.
a favor.
Oh, what? What sports did you play growing up?
Me?
Yeah.
I've had a great time. It feels like I'm watching a PK episode. It's lovely. I'm just listening to Kyle's stories of kids bleeding. It's great.
You want a little secret? You are.
Whoa. I played golf and baseball. I didn't play baseball till high school. I played golf since I was like 4th, 5th grade. I still golf. I just like the sport. It's fun. But baseball was like the only team sport. I played basketball in middle school, but that doesn't really count. Yeah, baseball. I was outfield, which meant not good. But I had a pretty good batting average, so I was happy with that. So
in golf, you still play? Are you pretty good?
No, I just do it for fun. Like on a really good day, it's like bogey golf, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my sweet spot. But whenever I go out to golf, I'm just like walking by myself for exercise because I have fun doing it. I'll shank a shot and be like, just throw down a ball, hit another one. Like I'm not taking it too seriously. I just enjoy it.
Golf is
but yeah,
fun
I like it.
In that how good you are is like a real thing that's recorded and comparable, right? Like, how good are you at hockey? Oh, I'm better than all the other guys. That tells me very little.
Yeah.
It tells me very little.
Shoot Augusta. And it's like, well, I don't like to talk about that.
200. It's like
in the North Carolina men's C League level, I'm well above average.
North Carolina men. Whoa.
Some stiff ice hockey competition going on there.
They call that the Ontario of the South.
The Ontario of the South.
The people do. I started it just now.
I like golf a lot because you can go out by yourself, get the full experience of playing, and then play against yourself every day. And like you said, it's like very quantitative. You have exactly how you did compared to how you did last time. And it's just fun.
So Kyle, Joe Biden has made pot legal and perhaps letting felons not be felons anymore. What is happening here?
Well, I think what's happening is you're really struggling with your reading comprehension.
That sounds on brand. Yeah.
And while the Biden stuff is interesting, since you have had a couple of incidents lately, accidents, surgeries, maybe we need to focus on you for. No, he didn't make. He's like, yeah, someday we'll like look at making it legal and stuff. And you guys who have simple possession charges at a federal level, those are gone now. So don't worry. And it's like, come on,
what does that mean?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
I don't know how many
that's not like a
federal
legal thing,
simple
is it?
possession charges there
I'll
are.
be 100% honest. When I heard that, I thought of Kyle.
I was like,
sent it to Kyle.
Me too. I was like, I hope my friend Kyle gets
I got
off.
a little mixed on, like, there's decriminalizing and legalizing and maybe a third term that don't all mean the same thing, but they sound like they should.
Sure.
And I don't know what it is that he's trying to do, but it
was it like decriminalizing and rescheduling as like a lower class of drug, maybe? Because decriminalizing would just be what like a lot of places already have, which is just like if they catch you with a certain amount, they're like, you cut that out, and they give you a ticket and they confiscate it.
So he's
and again, we're talking about federal. All you can do is federal guideline, federal stuff. Like the states still have You know, there's same draconian laws in place and all that stuff. You get the same thing would happen to me again. Like if I had more wax here rolling.
You don't
around
know that.
Georgia.
Give it a go.
Like nothing's changed. Nothing's actually all right, it would be a little bit different this time since if he's like legalized possession at a they'd have gotten
more limber.
It'd be a little different this time, I suppose. But in any case, this isn't getting me out of anything, you know. Like it's like I pled guilty to intent with or with possession with intent to distribute. I believe. I think it's been a while. You know, a couple years. You know.
Whatever I'm charged.
There was a piece of it was, dude. You've seen the movies. They put that piece of paper in front of you, and they're like, "Sign." And like, what? Not really though. But my lawyer was like, "This is a good idea."
I get that it doesn't solve all your problems, but I think you're underselling the impact of it. It's legal to own. People who've been busted for owning it get their records cleared, and he's rescheduling it so that it's easier to research or something. I forget what the rescheduling does.
Yep, that's all real good. Changes the guidelines. You know, right now it's considered heroin at a federal level, like equal, you know, as far as substances are concerned. But what it's not doing is changing anything about like the drug war, right? Like they're still going to be storming houses left and right, and they're still going to be grabbing people off the streets with a couple grams of marijuana and locking them up. Like that's not changing.
That's not changing because
that happens at a state level. Like this federal stuff is like the fact that I got scooped up in some federal stuff is just a consequence of me being me, and then being like, let's get him. And also that silly warrant they wrote about the shorts and everything, and it seemed like the state might have been a little disappointed and was like, hey, can you help? Anyway, I don't think this is changing anything because who gets federal marijuana possession charges anyway? Who are those people? I saw a Reddit comment that said there's like 700 people.
No, 6,500 people is what I saw.
Okay, still.
And Wendigoon, let me not talk over you. What are you saying?
Oh, you're good. You're good. I was just going to say, if I had to imagine, typically whenever the feds get in on a case where it's not a problem with the state, like say, for example, in Colorado, they're trying to bust a guy for something, they can still charge him federally for possession, even though the state doesn't have an issue with it. Mm-hmm. So more than likely, the people who are going to be exonerated are people in that situation. Kind of like getting Al Capone on tax evasion. Like whatever you can grab them for, if I had to guess.
So there's a couple things in my head. One, if it becomes federally legal, does it solve the problem of these marijuana businesses not being able to use banks?
Yeah,
I'm hoping it does, and that's a big deal.
I think that's a separate thing, but that would come along. The banking thing would definitely come along after they legalized it or changed it or decriminalized it, perhaps.
And the other part of it that I have in my head, and this might just be wishful thinking, is that when it's legal federally, that does more to set a tone. That, you know, backward states like Georgia and North Carolina start relaxing a little bit because it's legal federally, and it's just one domino.
We don't even have
away.
Medical here.
You guys are both like way behind Missouri on this. Like Missouri. It's actually, as far as the Midwest goes, I think Missouri is actually like more chill. But
we have T8. I meant to say Delta 8. We have like that stuff is legal here. And to me, it's like once you get that, your problems are solved. You know, just use that instead. It's roughly the same thing.
Yeah, the same shit.
But still, I just like seeing people not get in so much trouble.
And like, as much as I love our wonderful sponsors, it'd be cool to like fucking fire up a joint every now and then, a legal one, you know? Like, I do prefer this. Like, joints make me cough. Like, there's no way I could like smoke a bunch of them all day. Like, that's like a once in a. The same way I smoke cigarettes or I drink beers. Yeah. It's like if I'm with somebody outside around a campfire or something, and
it's a very college way to smoke. I'm too old for joints. Give me a vape.
or even like I like the vape, but like even a blunt. Like I'm down for a blunt. Get multicultural with it, right?
Blunts suck. Joints are actually way better than blunts.
Dude,
blunts you're getting halfway tobacco. You're getting like
a strong... you get that. You get a little zing from the tobacco. Yeah, I like it.
I guess I just don't like those flavored tobacco wraps very much.
Oh, I like those too. They taste cheap and delicious. Great vanilla, honey, whatever. Let's get going. I saw a wonderful mother on TikTok earlier. She had a nice blunt rolled up, and she was letting each of her toddlers hit it, and like going around in succession. They were all smoking.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was pretty horrific. And then she called
the
one kid coughed.
Wait, you guys are in favor of bogarting the joint? The fuck is wrong with you, right?
Those kids have to get to 21 like everyone else.
Dude,
and then some fucking selfish pot smokers who don't give their kids any at all.
And then they get a federal charge just like everyone else.
None of these children looked like they were old enough to ride like a real roller coaster. Like they were all tiny. and when one of them coughed, she called him a bitch. I was like, that is not how I grew up.
What a horrible woman.
What a lucky little kid. He has grown up with such a cool mom. Such a cool mom.
Who gets their 3-year-old high?
Not just high, dude. Like they were passing the blunt around. Like after she let them all hit it, she hit it and then went back around. Like she's got a circle, and it was a whole blunt. Like,
can you imagine what's going on in that house? That like she was like, this is a good post.
I don't know. Like
this is a good. People are going to love this.
Yeah.
People gave Snoop Dogg a lot of shit when he smoked with his kid, and I think Snoop was probably like 40s, 50s, and the kid, I don't know how old he is, just based on what he looked like, and like kid was like 16, 17, maybe something like that, and it was like, come on, like I'm okay with that. At that, first of all, your dad's Snoop Dogg. Let's not pretend like you're a virgin to the marijuana
What's
world.
What's a weed? Yeah.
What's a weed? Okay, your father's Snoop Dogg. You might be the case study for 16-year-olds smoking weed with their dad occasionally. Let's see how that goes. I bet it goes real well. I bet today, that was like 8 years ago, he's doing well. I bet Snoop Dogg's son does well.
Yeah, I bet he's fine. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to have a wealthy rest of his life.
Yeah. I think he's got it figured out.